Hello, everyone. I am Rasheen Jamison-Richardson, host, founder, producer of this podcast, The Table of Redemption. The Table of Redemption, for those who are new to this community, is the conversation starter of my leadership redemption framework that I built while I was at Harvard. It is a framework centered on crisis leadership, centered on resilience training, centered on leadership preparedness that helps leaders really figure out how they're going to come back from any situation pre, mid, post crisis. But what this platform is doing is sitting with leaders, holding space with leaders as they re-author their stories and find new hope and new meaning. Today's guest is one of my sisters, one of my colleagues from Harvard Graduate School of Education, Alicia Thompson. And I wrote her story as though it is saying, the very art of finding blessings along the journeys and adventures all along the way at any age, because she is amazing when you see her and meet her, and which is what we're about to do. So everybody, let's go in and get this conversation started. She was a very close part of my inner circle at Harvard and what we call a MLC, which is a micro learning community. So out of everybody I have interviewed so far, she sat right here next to me first semester, and the intricacies and the tears of building and rebuilding Legacy School of Performing Arts. She's seeing it on paper. She's seen it out of my mouth. She's seen it out of my head. This framework that we're doing, she was there when all this stuff is being born, like right there, Okay.
Yes.
She was also one that would give me the best hugs in the middle of Gutman Library on days I've just needed it the most. And she's also one who always gave so many positive words of affirmation and spoke life over me there. So it would be such a honor. It is such an honor to introduce her to you today, to my family and friends and my community for the first time. This is Alicia Thompson. So to you, Alicia Thompson, I would like to ask you, so what brings you to the table today, the table of redemption?
You, you, you. Like I told you, um, if you ask me for anything, the answer is yes. If I can do it, it will always be yes, if it's in my power to do it.
Mm,
So you brought me to the table, love, honor, the impulse to build, to connect, to create, love.
yeah.
Yeah, connection. That's what brought me here.
Wow. That is so powerful. And I can feel it going down in my spirit. Because that's a powerful reason when you're able to rise and you're able to ebb and flow and you're able to walk in levels of honor based on a connection and a relationship.
Mhm.
One of the things I often say is I know the difference between connections and relationships, friendships, because my connections, I mostly keep up with them,
Mm.
text them, ask
Yes.
them for things.
Mhm.
My relationships, people check on me and we connect.
Mm.
Or whenever we get together, it always feels like we were never apart. And
Yes.
it's like no set boundary, no set tradition or boundary can keep us apart or bring us together. It's genuinely love. So when
Hmm.
you say stuff like that, I actually believe it and mean it because of who you are as well. So I brought you to the table, but you bringing me to the table too because of your level of bonding together in unity. I want to advance the conversation to the powerful work that you do in the earth. And one of the things that I have been able to admire Alicia for is her creation as the founder of the event or organization, or she could tell us more about what it is, called Five Burning Questions. She bought this event to Harvard a few months ago, and it's one of my favorite events. You can go to so many events on campus, which I didn't spread myself thin. I literally choose what I'm going to go to intentionally. But out
Mm,
of all these things that seem so mega and mighty, this one got me still. Like I got
mm,
still on the inside. And so I
mm.
wanted her to bring her to the table because she has a beautiful vision. She's a visionary. She's an artist in the theater, right? Theatrical arts and other areas of the arts. But her lens is so beautiful. And so as we are here today, Alicia, could you give us insights or wisdoms or just behind the scenes of what took for you to either dream of five burning questions, what it took for you to bring it to the forefront, any
Woo!
team members you want to acknowledge, but also tick off who was there because baby, that was hot. That was hot, girl.
Okay, so Five Burning Questions was a dream and
Mm,
a vision that was burning inside of me for, I would say it was probably longer, but I would say at least like maybe 6 or 7 years.
mm,
I had initially said 5 years, but I think it was a little bit longer than that. And I was thinking about, and it's Five Burning Questions, an intergenerational conversation.
okay.
Um, it's very important to me to include all voices in any kind of community gathering, any kind of coming together to celebrate, solve a problem,
Yeah.
create or co-create. I love youth, I love children, I love elders, I love teenagers, I love people. And I believe that we are our strongest when everyone is involved. And I
Mm.
think that we learn, I know for me personally, I learned so much from young people and I learned so much from elders. And I think sometimes there's a disconnect within the generations. So I started thinking about Black people in particular. And I've
Hmm.
been thinking about our, like, all of our accomplishments, but also our struggles. And there have been so many people that came before us, brilliant, amazing people, known and unknown, who
Yeah.
contributed amazing things, like really profound, like people who made breakthroughs, people who created things out of nothing, people who contributed in all areas,
Mm.
science, literature, law, the humanities, spirituality,
Come
everything.
on.
Um, we are divine and a brilliant people. And looking at all of that, I look at like some of the data, when it comes to education, when it comes to like housing, when it comes to economics, we always seem to be on the bottom. And for each generation, for every like triumph, there's still so much struggle. And it's also global because when I think about Black people, I think about global Black people, right? I never considered myself or Black people a minority because I never looked at myself just in the context of America. I think
Ooh.
very globally. I think very world.
Ooh. I
So when I
love
hear
it.
minority, it just never
Woo.
resonates with me. And walk, I don't walk with that. So
Mm.
I walk with the understanding that we are a global people and we are
Yes.
the first people. So
Yes.
see, that means a lot. If we are the beginning and we are global, that in and of itself, just really resonates deeply with me. So I wake up every day with so many questions about, why are we still struggling? Like, whose philosophy, like if Martin Luther King lived or Malcolm X lived, or I don't know, Kwame Nkrumah, if he lived, where would we be, right? Marcus Garvey, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman,
Yeah.
all of these, I'm thinking of the known ones, but the ones who are, the lesser known people and people who are not in the public, right?
Hmm.
Um, I think about if their work, who continued their work, and if they lived longer, where would we be? And I just have so
Mm.
many questions,
Ooh.
about everything, just our beauty, how our beauty has been, I don't know, diminished in a lot of ways, and then celebrated, how we're able to recognize our own beauty, even in the face of just so much I don't know, just this attack on the Black body, as they say,
Yeah.
throughout the years.
Yeah.
And also the joy that we bring. Be
Yes.
able to always just always seem to have this like gut-wrenching sort of laugh, this joy. There's
It's
so much of
contagious.
it's contagious. And everywhere, whether you're African American or Trinidadian or Rwandan or wherever, there's this essence that we carry. But they're questions, they're always questions. And I started thinking about, I just woke up one morning and I said, 5 burning questions.
Mm.
5 burning questions. These questions are burning inside of me. And I know if I have these questions, I know many of us have these questions, right? So I thought about creating this symposium. And initially I thought, oh, maybe it'll be a round table with dinner and just a discussion and maybe filming it. And I still think about that because it's going to be a series. And just to bring together all of these voices, elders, youth, young people, Black people from all over the globe, of all identities. When I say everybody, I mean everybody. I mean trans, I mean disabled, I mean, when I mean everybody, I really include everybody because I feel that's the only way we're going to move forward. So I had this idea and I was thinking about all these incredible people that I know. And I'm always having these amazing conversations with them. And I'm like, wow, if I could bottle all of this up and have them all in one room and just really have like a discussion about some really important questions. And that's how it started. So it was a dream that I held on to, but I'm in my life, I'm busy, I'm doing so many things. And when I got to Harvard, of course, that took over everything, just
Of
really
course.
that, yeah. But thankfully, my buddies,
Yes.
Erica, Mo, and Emmanuel was like, you need to do 5 burning questions at Harvard. You need to
Yeah.
start it here. And I was saying, oh my God, that would be amazing. But I'm like, y'all, I don't have the capacity. I'm exhausted all the time. And when I do things, I want to do it well, right?
Yes.
But they kept pushing me. And I'm like, can they not see that I'm like on my last leg? But thankfully, they were like, no, we'll help you. And that's one of the things that I also learned in our MLC group and also being at Harvard is that you can't do anything without community. You
That's
need a
right.
team. You need a team and you need the right people.
Mm.
So I started thinking about the questions. I looked into booking a room and then I started calling my people. And, we didn't have a dime. I mean, just really trying to like raise funds. I couldn't pay for anybody to fly them in and house them and all of that. So people came on their own dime. And then I asked, Dr. Imani Perry, who just said yes. Windell Pierce, who just said yes. When do you need me? Kai Giovanni, a just brilliant poet, youth poet. Laura James, who I've known since high school, who's a brilliant visual artist. Andre Holland, who I bumped into on the campus, who I used to see walking the streets in Brooklyn. I mean, phenomenal actor. And I'm like, Andre, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm at the divinity school. So when I asked him, he just said, yes, I'll do it. And then the most beautiful, talented, lovely Hoffman, who actually said, what do you need? And then I took a class at the Faculty of Arts and Sciences with the wonderful Dr. Shamel Bell. And there were mostly undergrads in the class. And I loved it because now I'm like, I was missing my students in New York. So now I'm around all these young people and I learned from them and they learned from me. And there were some dynamic young people in the class. And I'm like, I'm going to get 2 of these fabulous young people to moderate the panels. Because if it's going to be intergenerational, let's let the young people moderate the panel. It doesn't get any better than that. So I thought about 5 questions for each panel. I came up with 4, and I told the moderators to choose their own question and then flow from there. So we had the 5 questions, and it was a beautiful conversation. I feel
Mhm.
like everyone was so incredibly honest and vulnerable. And
Yeah.
really, I would watch them really think about the questions and really want to answer the questions with such honesty and such humility. And it was also beautiful to watch like that intergenerational thing where Michael, who was on the panel with Dr. Perry, um, Wendell, and Andre, who was also an actor,
Mhm.
and just for them to sort of pour into him and mentor him just about theater. And then also when there was a moment where Kai, I don't know if you were there for the second one, where Kai, who is the youth poet laureate, she's of New York, she stopped, well, they're 19 years old. So they stopped in the middle of the conversation and said to the moderator, Elise, who, was a undergrad, and said, you are killing this. They're
Wow.
like, you are just phenomenal. How long have you been doing this? And it was just wonderful to witness
Mhm.
that. And there were tears. There was a moment off to the side where my friend Laura James, who was on the panel, visual artist, who I happened to walk by, and she was talking to Kai. And Laura said, I don't know. I worry about the young people, but I'm crying right now because I'm not worried now talking to you.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
that was really, really powerful. So I know I just went on a tangent, but
You didn't. You didn't. You didn't because it is critical that you paint this picture. And I want to go back and comb through a little bit of it because what this event did for me as an audience member, but also watching you in action, one of my jobs as a vocalist is to take that thing off paper and bring it and make it alive in the earth somehow. And we need not rest on the fact that when we're doing sheet music or reading scripts, that that's all there is to the profession. The
mm,
thing that I loved most about you and what you were able to do with your team was actually emote and bring this thing to us. And I am here to just highlight from my point of view back to you because you might not have seen it because you were in it, you were doing it. But one of the things that I want to make sure it clear of, we're talking about the Erica Buddington,
oh,
okay? We're talking about Moisela Edu Doctor.
yes,
Okay, so she's captured on the podcast. Emmanuel Wright, who was our student speaker for our class of 2025 commencement speaker, student speaker.
yes.
Okay, so that in
Phenomenal
its
human beings.
yes. So this is,
Phenomenal.
but I'm trying to show you the quality of people she attracts with her work. Because it's one thing to talk about her work, and it's one thing to put it on a flyer. It's one thing to put it. It's just one. It's one thing to cook up the food, but is it good? Like, do people want it? Like,
Oh, and,
so
and I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So watch this. So then we want to back down a little bit slower. She said, Wendell Pierce, Imani Perry. Andre Holland from Selma. You
Mm,
just saw Wendell Pierce on TV with suits and all that. Imani Perry is not just the queen, but more so the empress of
mm,
what it means to walk in our true, authentic
mm.
blackness and feminism and to be
Yes.
able to bring all of this under one roof. It was so peaceful. It was so beautiful. It
Mm.
was seamlessly put together for us. I'm in the art, so I know very well it wasn't so peaceful and easy to put together behind the scenes because honey, it'd be all stuff clinging and clanging
Oh,
until
yes.
5, 4, 3,
Yes.
2,
That
1,
was that
everything is good.
team. That was the team. Yes.
So I want to
Absolutely.
slow down and really magnify the gravity. Your event had weight. It
Mm,
had gravity. I'm here to slow us down a little bit. I'm
mm,
here to highlight the beauty of my friend. I'm here
yes.
to blow your head all the way up with the
Mm,
quality of what the 5 or 6 year period meant to even think of this and then to posit it and then deposit it into the earth realm for us to enjoy, because these people were touchable, reachable. Like Wendell Pierce was right there in the room with us. I mean, just Imani. I mean, Andre. I mean, it was like, so you could have easily utilized the five burning questions series as a very selfish opportunity to promote your own agenda, and the people in the room would have never said, like, I have a picture with Wendell Pierce, I have a picture with Imani Perry, her beautiful skin, I have a picture with Andre Holland. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You did that for us. Your
Mm.
work exposed us to a greater level of access. Okay.
Oh,
These are qualities that I had to get you on here to say and show the people that when you honor and obey your soul to do this or to answer your own questions, what does it do
oh.
for other people?
Mm.
And I'm not sure if you saw it from this perspective, but that's what you did.
Wow, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm like, I don't even know where to go from there. It wasn't a selfish endeavor.
It wasn't.
It really wasn't. I feel very blessed. I feel I feel very blessed because I've been able to, and I'm always able to connect with such dynamic, um, soulful, talented, genuine people for big spirits, big people, whether they're known or unknown. And there are lots of them in my life. And I'm not always cognizant of it, but when I step back, I'm like, oh my God, I have amazing connections and conversations with them. And my desire was for people to experience that and
Mm.
people to be a part of that wisdom, the storytelling, um, that spirit, the dialogue, you know. Um, yeah, I just wanted people to experience a little bit of what I experienced, like in these really siloed moments, in my
Yeah.
personal life and bring it to the fold, so that it could give people inspiration, some groundedness,
Yes.
hope, some excitement, and also some fire. Fire, there's
Yes.
something about that fire, fire is, talk
Yes.
about fire, oh my gosh, it burns like it's this real, like sort of like destructive. Fire is healing.
Ooh, say it again. Hold on. Say
Fire
that again.
it's healing.
Say,
It,
why do you say that? Say that again. That's my first time hearing that. But
oh,
I can feel it
fire is
in
healing
me.
because it is something about that burning energy. Like when you have a fever, it's just coming to me. When you have a fever and then that fever breaks, it's almost like, and it's also connected to this idea that stays with me. Many years ago, it was on Christmas Eve.
Mhm.
And a friend, I was home, like putting up my tree, and I had another friend who was doing nothing. And they're like, you know what? You should come up. You should come up. We're not doing anything. And I'm like, you know what? It was a spur of the moment thing. I'm gonna come up and I'm gonna take my ornaments and I'll help decorate your tree. And we ended up going to this church in upstate New York, like right along the Hudson. And it was a spur of the moment. Let's go to church, right? And he's not religious, he's not, and I'm not necessarily Christian, but we wanted to go to this church. And when we went to the church, the pastor had this amazing sermon where he talked about beauty as a disruption. And I've always held on to that. And I use that beauty is disruption. And I've come to understand that my purpose in life is really to create beauty. Even the fact that I'm a natural hairstylist, like my whole life, is really about creating beauty. But when he talked about beauty being a disruption, I've never heard someone frame beauty in this way of like disrupting, to tear down, to like, but he talked about, he likened it to when Jesus Christ was born, and that he was coming in to disrupt what was happening, and that was the beauty. So without being religious in that way or Christian, that has always resonated with me. So when I think about fire and this whole impetus to disrupt, right? To burn, there is beauty in that. There's beauty in that. There's beauty in the ashes, right? What remains? There's something very beautiful and very powerful about that. And it's also a very active force. So that thing that burns inside of you, you know, that desire, this curiosity linked to that desire. There's intentionality linked to it. You know, there's passion linked to it. So, yeah, I just,
This is something serious. I think it's your next book or whatever you about to do, because it is seriously. And let me tell y'all something. I am from the South, so I'm in Florida. So I might say what she about to do, because I know how to talk. But when it gets so good to me, I'm just telling you right now, don't be going by, all this other stuff going on. But here is what she's saying to me and to all the me's out in the world, and to her and all the hers out in the world. Let me tell you something. Can you stand the heat?
can you stand the heat?
Because if you can, it's beauty in the ashes, it's beauty in the brushes. It is just what we call the refiner's fire. And
Mm.
the other day I told someone, you're not being tested in that trial, you're being trusted in that trial. Because
Ooh.
there are people who can feel the fire and they turn bitter. They turn bitter real quick. And then when we're talking about the impact, okay, let's go back to impact of fire burning questions, impact of her vision intergenerational. You have people that are not ready for the intergenerational. So you have elders and elders who assassinate the younger.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
welcome that.
Mhm.
So she served to me, my words, as an architect
Mm.
to be able to build this platform for safe arrivals. And let me tell you one thing, what happens is 9 times out of 10, she took the heat that we didn't have to.
Mm.
That's what
Mm.
happens when we decide to follow our dreams. We're
Yes,
taking the heat, we're taking the smoke, we're taking all of that, but we take also the rewards.
yes.
Because there are truly rewards. This relationship on camera is a reward.
Yes, it is.
This is one of the rewards. So when she talked about the beauty in the disruption, I have never once on this planet heard it that way, except for to say in my statement of purpose, I wrote about my career as a beautiful disaster. And if it was
Mm.
not a beautiful disaster, I don't know what it was.
Yes.
Because what it turned into was a redemption song. I never sang a redemption song or had a redemption dance the way I
Yes.
did when I was consumed with disaster,
Mm.
crises, sickness. And I tell my testimony briefly on the platform how this is my first year back to the public after 7 years away battling a sickness that would not let me go.
Mm.
And what
Mhm.
turned me loose. So when my friend is talking about fire, I know it. I'm so hyped up now because and a quick thing about fire, fire cannot go where fire was already been. It's already been there.
Mm.
So you have to understand when they do forest fires, they do control burns.
Mm.
It is to stave off, especially in the state of Florida, the heat that's about to come.
Oh.
So you'll be so glad that you got a mentor, a coach, a friend. You'll be
Mm.
glad you got a sister that keeps you together and help you stay together for a fire that's about to come, but you'll be ready for it.
Yes.
So this is so delicious what we're talking about. I
Mm.
can't I can't even move on because this is profound what's sitting inside of her. And it's got me geeked.
Mm.
It's got me geeked because that means that when you had the five burning questions, it all stemmed from this internal dialogue that when we discussed the word scaling, Justice Lopez was on the podcast just this week, but he talked about the ability to scale yourself.
Mm.
Oh man, he is a bundle of power, honey.
Powerful. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. That's pretty powerful.
It is, but that's what five burning questions to me did.
Mm.
You took it out of your head, out of your heart, then put it on a flyer, then advertised it, and then we actually saw it. That's a
Mm.
vital part of scaling, right?
Mm.
And that's just a small version of what some of the expert consider as scaling. But when we're talking about who you are, what you bring to the forefront and have been doing for years and years and years and years, I believe you are the epitome of that example of one who can actually dance in the fire and come out as pure gold. That's
Mm.
what you've done. And the way you honor, especially your grandmother, and honor all the people that's so close to you when you do this work. I'm saying that to say when you have the quality of people around you, people get starstruck.
Mm.
They forget all about the infrastructure. They
Mm.
forget all about the spiritual DNA that made up who they are. And they're
Yes.
going doing something strange for a little piece of change.
Right.
And
Right.
so here we are here, two Harvard graduates here in the same spirit saying, this is pretty phenomenal. But what did it cost? It cost a good amount. And we're not talking about money, but we're talking about years of preparation.
You know what? It's so interesting. I saw something and this is it's so funny because I saw this quote and it's very simple. It was on, I think it might have been on social media and it just popped up on my page, right? And I typed it up and I framed it because I feel like this is something that's happening. It's very simple. It says it takes years, then it happens all at once.
I didn't even know
And
that.
it's so simple, but I feel like um in this moment right now, there's so many things that I've like been doing, right? And sometimes it seemed so like, how is it going to converge and
Yeah.
turning to something that is really impactful, you know? And I feel like this year, all of these things that that's been sort of in, sort of like in the archives, right? Just sort of came together. Everything just came together all at once. And it didn't seem so disconnected. I
Mm,
realized it was a through line with all of it,
mm,
and it really is about creativity. And that's why I wanted to start with the artists.
mm.
Initially, I was going to have a doula, because I'm like, I want to address health. I want to address, spirituality. I want to address, and then I started thinking about, no, narrow this down. Of course, I'm going to start with the artists and the storytellers.
Yeah.
I feel we are the most powerful,
Yeah.
folks.
Yeah.
It's, you
Yeah.
know, we are because it encompasses everything,
Hmm.
history,
Hmm.
spirituality,
Hmm.
science, you
Mm,
know, it's everything.
mm.
And the artists, there's a way that we can move, the world
Yeah.
through our beauty, through our creativity, you know,
Hmm.
through our sensuality,
Hmm.
through our love.
Mm.
And so then it was easier for me to narrow down, okay, who do I want on this particular panel? And there were so many people who, scheduling didn't make it, but like the next one and the next one,
Mm.
it's going to be pretty awesome. But I was really happy to start with the artist.
Mm.
So, um, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then Erica Buddington, she because I knew I'm like, I can't do it, but I wanted to write a poem about 5 burning questions. And I'm like, that's not me, that's Erica. And this poem that she wrote for 5 burning questions, I'll
Mm.
send you a copy of it.
Please do.
It brought me to tears.
Yeah.
Brought me to tears. And then the fabulous Mo, she commissioned this artist in Nigeria for the
Mm.
artwork that was hanging in the space.
Mm.
So she always brings that beauty, that spirituality, you know. So it was just it was a labor of love,
Yeah. Yeah.
labor of love.
Yeah. And the snacks were really good too. I ate a lot of them.
Okay, it's always good. That's always good. That's important.
Kept getting up, getting some of the chips and salsa because
Mm,
I hadn't had it in a couple of weeks, but it
great.
was top notch.
Mm,
Can we go in a little bit to highlight your relationship with Wendell Pierce? Um, he's out of all the relationships I saw, it seems to me, just by observation, it was the most endearing relationship. And I say that to highlight how people don't have to do anything for you. Like that's how I was raised.
mm.
But it seemed to me that the bond that you guys were not, he was not just in the room. There was an actual bond of peace and unity.
That's my that's family.
Yeah. Okay.
Family. He's we met so long ago. My godson, ooh, I'm dating myself, but my godson was like 4 or 5 or something. He's now 30. Um,
Oh,
so we met at a my friend was going away. She was from Sweden and she had come to America for a year and she was having a going away party that I started not to go to. But I went to the party and all of a sudden the room just got very interesting, a lot of like artists and then he was there. And I don't know how much work he had done then, but he had had some work, but I don't think quite as known. And we just had this, we just connected. We had this conversation at the bar. And I was doing a play in Jersey with a playwright and a director who I admired for many years. And he was a tyrant. It was a horrible, disappointing experience. And
mm,
he was doing, was it Shakespeare in the Park? He was doing a play. And we started talking about, just as an actor. And then we started talking just some of the challenges that we were having. And then we started talking about history. And then I realized, like myself, we loved history. We were very much into, empowering Black people. And and that's how it started. And we just all in our families really connected. I like loved his mom and his dad who recently passed, but and my family like really loves him, and we just stayed connected.
yeah.
And we, it's a relationship that has evolved, built on just mutual respect,
Yeah.
admiration, love, and care.
Yes.
And support, and lots of support.
Yeah. Yeah. I could feel it. It was so amazing to observe. It was so amazing to observe. And what's critical to continue to highlight is you don't know what's inside somebody. You could be with them all day long. You don't know what's inside people. And that's why the Bible says, be careful how you entertain strangers because you could be entertaining angels unaware. There are
Mm,
portions of who we are that are yet developing and undoing. There's not just the doing of us, there are components that are the undoing. But the relationships help us soar. The
mhm.
relationships. I mean, if you
Oh
didn't have
my
the relationship,
goodness.
it was the helium. To me, it was the wind beneath our wings that
Oh,
helped us.
let me tell you, every time I saw you, it's like my heart, my spirit just opened up. It just
Thank
opened
you.
up. And you're a truth teller,
Yeah.
a truth teller. And you have so much love. and so much power, so much power.
Wow.
And I remember I would, and I tell this story to so many people when we had our, when we had to write our stories, we had to go through each, oh my God, I'm already forgetting, but each section, and we had to have a dilemma. Rasheen, we're supposed to have a different dilemma to deal with a different situation, whether it's navigating politics, whether it's communication, we're to come up with a different scenario. Every last one, it was about legacy, and it was the same exact story. I said, Rasheen, you go, no, because that's my story.
Legacy is
I want to see how I'm going to navigate politics. The last time I was dealing with communication.
That's exactly right.
And I was like, that story, and it was so, but even as I laughed about it, I knew the weight of that. And I knew what you were wrestling with. And it was so beautiful to see you like a phoenix rise from the ashes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Because that is the logo for Leadership Redemption. That is
Yes,
the
I
logo.
remember you told me. I
Yeah,
was like, wow.
it is. Well, that's my definition of navigating politics. So that's my definition of what it means to go through, the cycle. Because when we get ready to talk about resilience in a few minutes, it is what are you willing to stand for? It's easy to lie
Mm.
down and give up, but there's some things you stand for. And I stand for the removal of misfortune in all my work. Everything I do, I remove barriers to success. I try to do it through the arts. I try to do it through my writing. I try to do it through this podcast. I try to pull the shades back. If there are blinds that are closed, if this podcast is just open up the blinds, I'm good. If we're just giving people a peek into our version of Harvard, that's fine. If we are trying to do something a little bit more, the work has to be somehow the removal of the misfortune in the spirit of love, in the spirit
Yes,
of kindness,
it
in
was
the
very
spirit of
loving.
peace, in the spirit of we gonna get this thing done today.
Yes, it was love. It was sharp and it was very succinct and it was no nonsense, but you did it with such love and grace. So the balance of that was extraordinary.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
And it was removed. We never faced that again. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Never have and never will. Because, I mean, we have to be that resilient about our purpose, though. We have to be that resilient about when we are moving along in this next leg of the race post Harvard, right? And so that gets me into the framework of what leadership redemption does. To me, it was a practice of how do we redeem this, what we just went through? How do we sit there and boldly rebuild? How do we sit there and live restoratively? How do we lead with levels of redemption and still go on to eat what we was going to eat afterwards? It didn't mess up my appetite, kind of thing.
Right, right.
So when it comes to the framework, a big part of it is resilient science. And so, my question to you is even through the lens of five burning questions, through the lens of yourself as an artist and as a creative, as a stylist, when you think of the word resilience, what comes to mind for you, and what factors play into the kind of resilience you have to be who you are?
Okay, so this is interesting. When I was an undergrad, I went to Sarah Lawrence College
Okay.
and I took a course called Human Resilience.
Ooh.
Yes, and it was an incredible course. And one of the things that I learned in the readings is that resilience is people are always like, oh my God, like they're fascinated by like someone who's resilient. But from my readings, I learned that it is a quality that we all have. Every human being is resilient.
Mm.
When you come through like the birth canal and you come out, that's not an easy task, but you come out and you overcome it, right? You
Mhm.
are resilient. And of course, there's certain factors that, you have to have like, a support. Like if you have one if you have one supportive person in your life early on, that helps you to be resilient. There are things that they've, social scientists have researched to kind of glean what are the factors in one becoming resilient or one who is resilient. My resilience, when I think about resilience, I think about my ancestors. I think about history, and I think about many years ago, over 20 plus years ago, when I was in Nigeria and I was undergoing a like spiritual transformation, and I had 7 days where I was being initiated and into like a spiritual tradition. And I was very, I guess I came with this really like strong, there was something about my spirit, I think that was very like strong, even though I was like, oh my God, what's happening? I'm in this different country. And the head priestess who was in charge of my ceremony, who I love, beautiful elder who since passed, she didn't speak English, but they would translate. And every day when I would start like the new day of like whatever the rituals were going to be, someone would say to me, oh, the Ia, who's like the mother, wants to know, why are you so strong? And I was like, no. So then the next day, for like day 2, here we go again. Ia wants to know, like, why are you so strong? And I'm like, oh my God, am I not being compliant enough? Am I coming with that African American, just being resistant? Like, what does she mean? And then she kept asking, like every day, there was this question, like, why are you so strong? And then finally, maybe like the 4th day or so, I said, because my mother is, and my grandmother is, and her mother, and I don't know how else to be.
Yeah.
And she smiled, and she just smiled, and she never asked me again.
Wow.
So my resilience, I think, comes from knowing that I have a legacy of women
Ooh.
that came before me.
Ooh.
And this is where redemption comes in, because redemption is about this, about being saved from something, being like pulled out and being saved. So the things that my mother, my grandmother, my great grandmother, and her mother went through, they all had children very young. My mother was pregnant at 14, had my older brother at 15.
Wow.
My grandmother was pregnant at 15, my great grandmother, right? So there were certain patterns that I broke, and I didn't do it alone. I am who I am. Before I am an arts educator or a writer or a creator or an actress or an entrepreneur, before I am all of that, I am my mother's child. I'm the daughter of Dolores Thompson Bunch, the daughter of Bessie Prince, the daughter of Viola Davis, the daughter of Sally Hudson, the daughter of Epsie Stewart, right? I am, that resilience was something that I inherited. And when you're in a position where you have to be providing mentally, because mental health really is, I mean, it's very important.
Yes.
You are blessed enough to be mentally sound, right? This life, it's not easy.
No.
There's a part of it where you have to be. What other choice is there to be? But then you have this legacy, behind you. Women who defied the odds and who sacrificed so that I can be who I am, so that I can walk in the world, freer than maybe they were able to do, you know? So that resilience, I think, comes from that. And it also comes from a curiosity. I've always been very curious.
Ooh, I
Maybe
love it.
I'm just having a revelation. Maybe even the 5 burning questions kind of ties into that. I've always been curious. I stay curious. And I think that curiosity keeps me, it's a part of my creative spirit. It keeps a childlike quality, I think, about me. I think it sort of staves off bitterness because I'm always curious, right? Even if something
Yes.
happens, I'm curious, like, okay, what was that? I'm
Woo!
curious about people,
Yes.
right? So that, I think that curiosity, um, I'm always thinking about the future. As a matter of fact, a practice that I have is to try and stay present because I'm always dreaming. I'm a big dreamer. I'm very
Yeah.
dreamy. My imagination is huge. So I'm always thinking about this next thing. So that keeps me going. That's the resilience. If things are like really tough, if I'm dealing with a situation, a current situation that it's really heavy and really challenging, that curiosity and that imagination and that ability to look over there and create and manifest this other thing. Okay, this is happening now, but ooh, wait till that thing happens that I'm like
Oh,
daydreaming about.
oh,
That's where my resilience comes from.
yeah. That's a new definition. That is one I have not heard. And so far I have 17 interviews recorded so far because I'm getting my whole
Wow.
series down
Ooh,
pat. And then
whoa.
I will launch it out in just a few weeks. So I've been pretty busy editing, interviewing, contenting, and everything. Yours is one that has given me a pause.
Mm,
Yeah. When you talk about resilience, it's almost like you're talking about a garment to me. It's like a cloak that has a mantle that's been passed down to you to be resilient. It seems like it's alive. When I'm talking to you, resilience seems like a live person. It seems like a whole spirit to embody or embed inside of you. And it's almost like it comes upon you when you need it. It rests
yes.
when it's needed. It
Yes.
has its own navigation system. And I say those words because that's how it works with me. It is
Mm,
not on all day at the same level.
no,
In fact,
no.
I say all resilience is not created equal. Okay.
Mm-mm.
It's not equal from equal dimensions because what you come from is not exactly what I come from, and what someone else came from, that's not exactly what someone else came from, but we in our respective places resilient.
Mm,
Then when you discuss the resilience that is not just generational, but intergenerational and intercontinental, you're in a different continent as well.
yes. Yes.
Having this conversation of resilience, you are also the first guest to paint this picture from a global perspective too, to help me see that it literally takes on its shape. It takes on shapes, sizes. It goes with you. It goes where you go. You take resilience with
Wherever in
you
the
where you
world.
go.
Wherever in the world. When I was in my early 20s, when I was in Paris, I wanted to go to the hood because that's where the African dance classes were at. And my aunt was like, oh, you're going over there. It's like, oh, yeah, yeah, I'm going over there. Went to the hood, and one of the African dance teachers knew like one of my African dance teachers in New York. I met someone on the street in Paris who said to me, I feel like I've seen you on DeKalb Avenue. I said, yeah, I work at Ancestral Roots at a salon on DeKalb. I knew I saw you on DeKalb. Anywhere I go in the world, I meet people. So this whole idea of globalization, we're not, the world is huge, but it's also very small, very small.
Yes, yes. And it is that way to the one who sees it, who has a vision. That's why I love being in community and relationship with you because you have the vision, you have the experience, you have the courage to make it global. There are people who have territorial spirits. They don't want nobody touching this, they want nobody going this way. They feel better if they're in control.
Mhm,
They
mhm.
feel way better if it's us four and no more.
Right,
They
right.
feel way better if it's just me, Bobby, Robin, Ricky, and
Yes,
Mike. And
yes.
that's all we go. And
That,
we
and
only going to give it
that's
to
not
this
me.
one.
That's not me. It's not me. And it doesn't mean that I don't honor the local or the here or you, or it's just that I'm very open to, you know, the big picture and all of the connections and the people who are everywhere in the
Hmm.
world,
Hmm.
you know. if there's something that resonates in my spirit with that person's spirit,
Mhm.
wherever they are in the world.
And that's a form of resilience because, when I don't know if you've heard the term when people say we're all doors, like connections are doors. But lately I've been thinking about we're aspects of doors. And when I think of you, you're the hinge. It's not
Mm.
just the knob or the lock or the peephole. It's the hinge that the door, if it wasn't for that hinge, the door wouldn't even be standing.
Mm.
Some of us are hinges. We people's visions hinge upon our ability to have a vision. People's lives are hinged and hooked up to the work that we do. So we can't be frivolous with our time, our day, with we can't just be willy-nilly with the things that we do. Of course, have fun. Of course, travel and do stuff. But when I met you, you can be all the other things too. But to me, the best aspect of having you in my life is a hinge. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And those who are the knobs, those access points to open and close, those who are locks to make sure we have proper access and security, that's fine.
Mm.
All of it's needed, right? But
Yes.
none of it, there would not be a door if it was not on a hinge.
Mm.
And then
You
some,
you and those words, you're such a wordsmith. You know
yeah.
how to put those words together, those metaphors, those images. I mean, all the time, all the
You
time.
would say that all the time, and it inspired me too because another part of the door is a threshold. It's the part
Mm.
where you walk in to get into the door. We have so much gatekeeping. We have so much
Yes,
people that say access, equity, they say all these words, but when the getting gets good and opportunities come, all of a sudden they lock the door. They
yes,
pretend like they're not home.
yes,
Like we
right.
used to have to do when a bill collectors call. If they call, tell them your mom and them not home.
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
So I
That,
think I think it's pretty amazing the way you are framing resilience in that capacity. What about how resilience plays into a person's purpose for being on earth or for doing what they do in the world?
I think it has a huge part in your purpose because sometimes you you don't quite know you don't know how to define what your purpose is. I know for me, because I do so many different things and they're all creative, but the resiliency comes from a trust. You cannot be resilient if you don't have trust. You
You
cannot.
got to say that again.
It goes
Say it
hand.
again.
You cannot have resilience if you don't have trust. The two, they go hand in hand.
Ooh.
Because when you're resilient, that means you're coming through the fire, but you
Ooh.
have to trust that it's for a reason and that things are going to shift or it's going to be for your greater good. Just
Ooh.
resilient just to be resilient. There's trust in that. And I thought about also how it's connected to your sense of how you take care of yourself
Yeah.
and 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 also this thing, like I was looking at some of the notes and I was looking at this idea of like well-being and lifespan, and I think it's all connected.
Yes. Okay.
When with your purpose, like for me, I have to live long because there's so much for me to do. So in knowing that, I know that I have to take care of myself because I have to be healthy. I have to have energy. I have to look good, feel good in order for me to carry out all of these things that I want to do. And I know how long certain things have taken, how it's taken some time for me to get to the point where I'm at. And I respect the process, but I look at all the things that I have planned for the future. And I don't think it's going to take as long because things have been manifesting quickly. Like I'm into quick manifestation now. I've always been someone that like I respected the process. So I was never the type to say, oh, this person shouldn't be in that relationship or this person should be a lot further along. No, there's something in that process. It's going to take as long as it's going to take because when they get to this point, oh, the gifts, the beauty, the insight, the wisdom. So the resilience to keep going, even when it looks like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm on the right path. I
Mm.
don't know if this is going to amount to anything. It's that,
Ooh,
oh my God, this last blow almost took me out.
ooh,
To keep going is the trust in yourself, in God, in
ooh,
your community, to
ooh.
keep moving,
Mm,
to keep moving.
mm. Oh my goodness. You just lit up the room. You just lit up a match because now this is my first time um with the guests that put it all together like that so soon. And it saved a lot of time to be able to do that, to tie in, integrate your well-being, your lifespan, your levels of resilience, your human intuition wrapped around the purpose by which you're here.
It's the purpose. And the thing about it, Rasheen, what I realize is that when I am not working in my purpose, my lifespan feels shorter. I have a feeling that I'm not going to be around for a long time.
Yes.
As soon as I'm working in my purpose, oh, I'm like, oh, I'll probably leave out of here when I'm 102. When I'm not, I start to have a real anxiety about, oh my God, I don't think I'm going to be around much longer because
Yeah.
there's something about how I have to be working in my purpose. I have to do it. And some people, they do it all very quickly, right? Some people are like they died very early, right? Because they, boom, they made a splash and they were gone. Some people, it's been like the slow burn. Did we go with the fire again, the burn? Some people, it's like the slow burn.
Yes.
And when it's the slow burn, oh my God, the wisdom, the gifts,
Mm,
storytelling,
mm.
the insight, the perspective. It's so rich, it's juicy, it's deep, it's beautiful, right? So when it's the slow burn, and then, you know, it takes years and then it all happens at once. There's something so exciting about that. There's something so exciting about that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that you couple that together because without a purpose, people are meandering around the world. They're just going to and fro. And in music, well, let's just say in the classroom, we call it off-task behavior.
Mm,
You're off task with what it is you were born to do. And a part of purpose is the discovery of it
mm,
and also the recycling or the uptooling of purpose, which is what going to Harvard did for me.
mm,
And in my interview, I always say I actually came to rebuild a school, but I'm actually leaving here rebuilding me. And in
yeah.
that component, I love the surprises that come along with
Yes.
staying in your purpose because it's not just one size fits all or one day at the park. It is a meal that keeps on feeding you. And it is the thing that the reason why I put it on the as an actual pillar. It's a pillar. It's not just a principle. It's
Mm,
something that holds up your levels of leadership, even because you're gonna need it to even begin to engage in conversations of redemption.
mm,
Because the redemption comes from not just the definition of the return to or an atonement. How do you plan to win again? Like,
mm, mm,
how did you, let's say you didn't get that relationship right the first time around.
mm,
Let's say the second time around, you almost got it right. Let's say the third time around, maybe you're a fifth time around kind of winner.
mm,
Maybe you win on fifth and sixth tries when other people just get the first time. Either way, the through line is definitely going to have to be your purpose. It can't be your side quest. It
I
can't
have
be
a
something you
question.
do on the side Like, oh,
Oh,
when
yes.
I get done, I'm gonna go back and get my purpose. And no, baby, let me tell you, that's the
Right.
reason why you still stuck in a rut.
Fucking sick. That it can take you out. I really believe if you are not, and I don't mean like if you're off task, because sometimes when you go off task, you're supposed to. There are things that you're getting from that thing. It's all a part of the
Okay.
divine plan. But you do know there is something different about when you're completely off purpose. There's a
Yes.
feeling tone, right? There's a certain kind of illness. There's there's a lifelessness about the energy. There's a sometimes like a bitterness.
Yes.
And it definitely, I think it decreases the lifespan.
It does.
I think it does. And I've definitely felt, I know for me, and I know I've said it to you before, but when I first found out that I got into Harvard, the first thing that I did was when I was looking into Boston and Cambridge was to find like an African dance class because I love like drums and I love movement. And I was like, oh my God, I want to make sure that whatever's happening, that I'm always like in class. And I found an amazing teacher and I was dancing. So when I also think about well-being, I think about movement. And I,
Move.
I don't even just think about like the physical movement. I think about just internally. I think about like movement of the mind, about
Yes.
pushing things forward, traveling,
Yes.
but movement, even the physical movement in the body. There's something about movement that I think is also connected to resilience too.
Yeah.
Because when you're not resilient, you're just stuck. You're sitting, right? You're not moving. But there's something about movement, physical movement, whether it's through dance, that actually is connected to resilience, connected to well-being, and connected to your purpose.
Yeah, yeah. You've done such a beautiful job bringing this full circle today. It has been just a peaceful presence. And you have that gift. It's a gift of presence. Just to be able to sit in a thing, sit with people, and to be able to get engaged and be involved in a thing and not have a chip on your shoulder. I always say that my framework is for that leader that's perfectly imperfect. You have
Mm,
people who can't get nothing on their leadership. You can't talk to them about their leadership. You can't touch it. You can't access it. It's almost like it's encased in the trophy case, and that's what they're most proud of. We're in a
mm,
time of crises. We're in a time of complexity. We're in a
yes,
time of disruption and disturbances that we didn't cause, but we certainly, because it has arrived to our doorstep, especially of those of us who are in the arts, when this always the first to get cut, first to go, first to always, something always happens to the arts somewhere, somehow. And we never really have a pot of money sitting around
no,
that we can recover from it, right?
no, no,
So what we've done here today in this dialogue is to bring it full circle that if I can review, your resilience is generational and intergenerational. It is as though to me it's being worn as a beautiful fine garment. It's almost
mm,
like in the Bible when Joseph had a coat of many colors that his dad weaved for him and he
mm,
was able to wear it and it's actually a thing that you're proud of. There are people who inherit the same thing but they're bitter because they don't want it. It's too much entanglements to walk
yes,
behind what your ancestors did. It's almost like you born a pine tree, you born from the roots of a pine tree, but you want to be a rose bush.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
You're gonna have some problems.
right, right,
You know,
yes,
you can grow up and plant your own rose bush. You get what I'm saying? But if by nature you come from the roots of pine trees, you're gonna have a big branches. You're gonna have
yes.
big
Oh, I love it. I
trunk.
love it.
You're gonna be big, okay? You're gonna be
Right, right.
tall, right? But it's not to say that people can't create more. It's just that the whole adage that whatever the trunk does not do, may the branches do. Whatever the
Mm,
branches do not do, may the limbs do. Whatever
mm.
the limbs don't do, may the twigs of the tree do. And
Yes.
whatever the twigs don't do, may the leaves do. And whatever the leaves don't do, go back to the trunk because we're going to still get the job done.
Love. Oh, come
And
on. Come
so
on, Rashi.
as we go into this, we still talking about purpose. We're still talking about why we're here, what we come from as an actual sustenance. It's sustenance.
Mm,
It's food. It's a nutrients that if someone removed Alicia Thompson's ancestral DNA, if someone removed your resilience from you, if someone put their dirty fingers on your purpose, okay, or
mm.
someone misused your purpose, it's a day to be had, baby, because now you don't woke up the dogs, honey. So I'm enjoying, I have thoroughly enjoyed you bringing us behind the scenes for one of five burning questions. And in all the many splendor of the choices that you've made to make this palatable for us, that if someone has a dream and a vision, you're listening to Alicia, you're listening to me, you're listening to two friends, just come together. We want you to know that you can do your dreams and your visions. You don't have to have the money.
Mm,
You don't have to have all the powerful connections from Harvard or around the world, but you do have to have you.
mm,
And you do have to have your dreams ready to go. I
mm.
wish I could say to you, "Oh, just take some time. Just meditate." I'm assuming the people we talked to, you already did that. You're just ready to go to the next level and move forward
Yes,
with what it is you're doing.
absolutely.
And that's what we're here to be examples of.
Mm,
I'm not afraid to say I am 47 years old, just turned 47 a few months ago. I'm
mm.
not afraid to give my age. But when Alicia's talking about she's in a season of quick manifestation, it is because there's a season that was not quick. Okay. And then there was a season where we might not have used the vocabulary word manifestation, but
Yes.
now you have that to draw upon, right? And when you're dreaming and when you're speaking and when you're writing and when you are actually hiring people, we want to just be faces of change for you. We want you to pick out your level of resilience, okay? We want you to pick out your flavor, your brand of your purpose. We want you to actually start using the vocabulary. My purpose. Like, I
Yes.
want you to start using well being. I want you to start looking and paying attention to obeying your soul, your human intuition. And
Mm.
it's almost like when Alicia was going back to when she was being initiated, and you said was it the Edu that was asking you?
It was Ea, the mother. She was the head priestess.
The
Yes.
head
Ea.
priestess was asking to me that's a symbol of human intuition asking. Alicia talked about being curious. She talked about always just wanting to know. I want you to be able to assign that that is a form of human intuition. You're not
Mm.
nosy. You're not trying to be a private investigator, FBI agent, unless you're checking
Right.
people's phone and doing some stuff, some silly stuff. But either way, these are the basics and the tenets of you taking away from this podcast what human intuition looks like, what greatness looks like in the form of two powerful black women who not afraid to say we're powerful black women. Okay,
Black
we
women.
are here as just a signpost. It's a
Mm.
signpost. Like when we go and it says stop, yield, when it says red light, green light, yellow light, we're just here as signposts for you to glean from and look into a version of yourself that either you hadn't met in a while or you haven't yet to manifest so that you can walk into levels of redemption and rounds of glory that you know not of. So, to you, Alicia, I always ask my guests to have the final words to say. Not only did you tell us what brings you to the table, which is our relationship, community, and love, but what are you leaving the table with? And is there something you're leaving on the table? And third, what words of wisdom do you have for me as I continue the journey of building a framework and leading the podcast?
Okay. Um, One of the things and this is just what came to me, what I want to leave on the table is that I think in our culture, like in this Western culture, in America, there's always this idea of, a time when it's your time, or the time is over, or you're maybe too old, or
Mm.
you missed the boat, or you gotta, strike it while it's hot. Otherwise, it's over for you. Or there's certain things that have to happen at a certain age. None of that is true.
Ooh,
None of that is true.
done.
Like these sort of ideas about when things should happen and when it's supposed to happen, and if it didn't happen, then it's not happening. It's
Yeah.
a lie. It's
Mm.
a lie. It has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with your divine right. It has nothing to do with your individual path. Nothing. So I feel like you should just throw that out. And
Mm.
that if something is still in your heart to do, it's not just there just to be there. It's a seed that was planted that you're supposed to water and let grow.
Mm.
So I know a lot of people kept saying, and sometimes we a lot of times we move and we don't know how we're inspiring people. You know, I turned 54 last month, and people were like, "Oh my God, you went back to school at 54. That's amazing. It's inspired me. I'm actually thinking about applying to this program. Like I never thought that I could do it." Like one of my younger sisters, she's like, "Oh, you just show me that you can do anything at any time." Now, for one, it's interesting that I'm actually at an age where people are thinking, "Oh, you did that at that age?" Acting like I'm ancient, right? But I don't think about my age in that way.
Yeah.
I don't think, if anything, it's a plus
Yes.
because of the information, the wisdom, the insight, the agency that you have, you know, as an older person. If anything, I mean, as you get older, we're all getting older, but to know that you're getting better in many ways.
Yeah.
And I think in the most important ways, actually, you're
Yeah.
getting better. So that execution
Woo.
is phenomenal at this age. The way I'm executing things when
Come
I do
on, somebody.
it, I could never have done it 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. So anything that you're thinking about doing,
Mm.
if you're thinking, oh, my time was then, no, it's only now. And it doesn't matter the age, the time is now. And to not define yourself by society's standards, because society, 99.9% of the time, they've been wrong.
Yeah.
They've
Yes.
been wrong. If you look at history, the things that society was taught, they've been wrong. So that's what I want to leave on the table. I don't know. What was the other question?
Honey, I don't know. I forgot. Oh, okay. So,
What do
um,
I want to leave to you?
yeah, yeah. Anything, any words of wisdom or encouragement or insights that you want to lead to me as I continue my journey of redemption as well?
Um, I'm just going to go with what came to me. I want you to continue to think big. I
Mm.
want you to always think big because you're very purposeful.
Mhm.
And that's how you get things done. Like you're like, even I was looking at like the questions, the preparation, even, the logo, everything is so like on point. It's succinct. That is a gift.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, I want you to always think big. And I
Yeah.
don't like start big and not like do all the things, the steps that you have to get there. But I want you to, I I want your thinking to match the size of you because
Yeah.
you're enormous. You're a huge spirit. You're a huge talent.
Yeah.
So continue to everything that you think about. Nothing is too big for you.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing is too
Yeah.
big. Nothing is too wide because it's almost like to think the opposite is not matching who you are.
Wow.
So any dream, any desire, if you ever have a moment of thinking, I don't know. Mm-mm. No, that's not you.
Yeah. Yeah. I receive it. I receive it. I do. And it is going to expedite me actually releasing my portfolio into the world because it's humongous.
Mm.
The body of work, the amount of awards, the amount of access and success that I've accomplished.
Yep.
And when you say that, I know I know where what it's pinpointing, and it is from me being sick and being very careful with my body and my well-being and my lifespan, because it does cost to be the boss, and it
Yes.
does cost dearly to have paved the way for so many people when they're home sleeping in their bed and you still up managing and doing and stuff like that. But what it is you're saying to me in my own words as I receive this is don't be afraid to also scale down so I can be bigger,
Yes.
because that's a very wise approach to being able to think outside of the box. If you already have a million things out there, irons in the fire, people don't get things done, and it's real shabby, which is
Mhm.
not me at all. Almost everything I
Not
do
you.
is completed and situated,
That's
but a
you.
large part of it is being able to scale down and to be able to maybe not have an entourage of 20 so that I can actually dream of and carry on this dream and carry
Yes.
50 pounds more.
That's
So
it.
when you say it to me, that's how I'm processing it,
Yes.
that there's an offset. Something has to be offset, to be able to, from my framework, to achieve that lifespan. And if the door is that I'm going to or being prepared for are double doors, I can take more. But if it's like an Alice in Wonderland little key knob, also know how to do that as well. So that's how I'm receiving. You can tell me if I'm on the right track.
No, you're absolutely correct because that just came to me and I was like, wow, why am I thinking that? But I'm just gonna go with that because I'm in a
Yeah.
flow. Moment of like recreation. And I was thinking about the word recreation, like because I'm always like, I want to recreate myself, right?
Yes.
I love it. And I actually looked up the word because it's recreation and it means
Ooh.
an activity for enjoyment and fun. So when we're in the process of recreating ourselves, I always want to have fun with it. And I
Yeah.
said, oh, it makes sense that it would be recreation to have fun. Because it's like, oh, who do I get to be now? At this point
Yes.
in my life, who do I get to be? And the answer is anything I want to be,
Anything.
anything that I want to
Anything.
be. And that's fun. And that's the
Yeah.
joy. It's like, Rasheen, who are you right now?
Mhm.
You know, maybe I know last year I had this revelation where I had gone to um I had gone to a funeral of a friend, right? And I went to New Orleans and I was there by myself and I was in the hotel. I might have said this to you. And I looked in the mirror at one point, the bathroom mirror of the hotel. And for the first time in my life, I was like, oh my God. It was a very dramatic moment, but I looked and I was like, I don't know who that is. And I'd never felt that way before. Of course,
Wow.
when you're young, you kind of like, no, but I always said, well, I'm an actress, so I'm this. I had no idea. And instead of it scaring me, there's that curiosity. I was excited. I was like, oh my God, this is interesting. I don't, because so many things have happened. Like I lost my mother, and and that it
Yeah.
just changes you.
Yeah.
Life will change you. And now I'm in the
Changes.
process of like, Alicia, who are you right now?
Mhm.
So it's the discovery. So now I get to recreate myself.
Mm.
And who I am is exactly whatever I want to be, whoever I want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. That is very touching. That's very touching. And I want to just thank you for that. It's spot on. It's spot on. And as I'm weaving through levels of healing, that's why I say all the resilience is not created equal. And all of the manifestations are not going to come at the same time, because I believe in divine power, divine providence as well, meaning that I also believe in jurisdictional prudence, meaning that based on where you are, who you are, the connections you have, everybody needs to be safeguarded for the new you that's going to come, because people that are not ready are willing to crush down the great things that is happening. So levels of protection comes around, conversations of perseverance and preservation comes to mind, that as we navigate the new us and as we navigate the creation of new us, it is also the same thing as when my friends would say, "Oh, when I get this time, I'm gonna get me a Bentley." But you got to also prepare that if you get a Bentley, you're gonna also get a new neighborhood.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, because you're gonna attract hijackers.
Yes.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
gonna have to probably be in a gated community to help you with that, keep that Bentley.
Yep.
And so, as you are bringing this to light for me, I know it's coming to light for other people that recreation is recreation, and what we are to do is embody the fun of it all and
Yes.
discover the discovery of it all, and just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to do that. And I actually love that. I love this particular wisdoms and impartation and insights that you are giving. Parts of the enormousness are people that will exalt it in their time and in their hands, and that'll bring all these things around, so that we can actually enjoy them. Amen.
Amen.
Well,
Amen.
everybody, thank you for joining us today on this podcast episode, The Table of Redemption. I always say that I hope that you have been well fed from this high table that runs on the currency of intellectual excellence. I
Mm.
also hope that you have ordered something that you want to eat at this table, meaning that your goals, your dreams, your purpose, your destiny, all the things that you are wanting to order up or serve up, that you found yourself in something that has been said or imparted or ministered to you. I am asking you, what will bring you to my table? What will it take for you to come to this table? How are you changing humanity? How are you changing your life? What are you doing for your neighbor next door? Like, there are a couple things I want you to be able to see, even in the micro areas of your life. You matter. You have levels of redemption in you that you know not of. But when I find you and when I find your work, I think you're dope. And I'm going to ask you, so what brings you to the table? The table of redemption. And I'm going to want to answer because I want you on my show. You guys have a wonderful day, and may your day be filled with the most abundant amount of love that you can even handle. Bye-bye.
The Table of Redemption
We did it.
has
Oh,
disclaimers.
this is wonderful.
Views expressed, branding, and mutual benefit. The Table of Redemption podcast is part of the collaborative refinement phase of the Leadership Redemption Framework before it goes to market. This is a research-based initiative led by myself, Rasheen Jamison-Richardson, your host. Guest participation contributes to scholarly exploration through narrative inquiry and receives platform exposure in return. Rasheen, myself, do not receive financial compensation from guest appearances or their affiliated work. This project is not formally endorsed by Harvard University, Harvard Graduate School of Education, or any institution or any sponsorships at this time. Any reference to anyone's brand, including Harvard's brand, are solely based on my academic experiences as a graduate student and now an alumni, and I do not imply institutional affiliation or approval on any of the content that I am producing. This is all my original work, designed, built, and invented by me across a 20-year experience as an educator and practitioner and researcher. All stories remain the intellectual property of the guest and are shared with mutual respect, transparency, and the shared goal of building bridges of hope and redemption in times of crisis. To continue following the Table of Redemption podcast, you may visit www.thetableofredemption.com. You may be able to find our content on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.